Hello, Peggy Kraus for Erasing Diabetes. 10% of people who are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes do not have type 2 diabetes. They have something called latent autoimmune diabetes in adults. That's an adult form of type 1 diabetes. That is a combination of insulin resistance, when there's too much fat in your cells, right? And insulin insufficiency, when the pancreas just can't make enough insulin to provide for the body's needs. So why were you diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and not LADA? So doctors in the office, when they see the blood glucose is elevated, they diagnose type 2 diabetes, and they'll hand them a prescription of metformin and come back in 3 months. Let's see where you're at. If the numbers are still high, let's give you more metformin. 3 months later, if they're still high, we'll add on another medication, and so on and so forth. But you might have LADA and not type 2 diabetes if your numbers are just not getting into range. And what can you do about it? So with a little bit of background insulin, you can bring those numbers down into range, maybe without all these oral medications. I want to tell you a story. It goes back about 5 years ago. Hi, Pete. So Pete walks into my office, diagnosed recently with type 2 diabetes, with an A1C of 8.1, not terribly overweight, and I told him that I thought he didn't have type 2 diabetes, that it was latent autoimmune diabetes in adults. But I told him that regardless of which one it was, the initial therapy is the same. Let's get the diet, the exercise, the stress under control. Let's see where the numbers go. And we did just that. Pete was so detailed about his diet to follow every single recommendation that I had, that he, within 12 days, off of his diabetes meds. After 3 months, he had lost 20 pounds. Now remember, I told you not terribly overweight. Lost 20 pounds. He normalized abnormal long-standing liver function tests, and his cholesterol is way lower, and he was a happy camper. No diabetes, all good. But over the next several years, his numbers eventually started to climb, and his doctor put him back on metformin. Still, his numbers were climbing, added a second drug. And when the doctor wanted to add the third drug, that's when Pete said, no more. And he sought out the help of an endocrinologist who correctly diagnosed him with latent autoimmune diabetes in adults. So what made me think that Pete didn't have type 2 diabetes? And this might, you might fall into this profile. Again, not terribly overweight. Diet, pretty good. Exercise, fairly regularly. And he just didn't look the type 2 diabetes part. Why I'm bringing this all up is that, like I said, 1 in 10 people, that's a lot, that's 10% of people diagnosed with type 2 really have latent autoimmune diabetes in adults. If you've had problem bringing your blood glucose back into range, even if you're on 3 medications, some people are on 4 medications, get in touch with me, because we'll clean up your diet, we'll maximize your exercise program, we'll control, we'll get into a good stress management, sleep regimen, and then we'll see where the numbers lie. That might just fix it. And if not, a little bit of background insulin, as scary as it might sound, might fix it all, might take you off of all those diabetes medications. Those oral medications are not healthy for you. Very good. All right, get in touch with me. click the link below, get onto my website, and contact me. We'll figure this out together. Bye.